Hello and welcome back to 1.3.1, and this is indeed the War Sales beta patch. And well, obviously War Sales isn't yet out, but we are exploring the wonderful new features and various other mechanics that are associated with it, and trying to experience them all. And well, I'd like to try and maybe make some alliances. I feel like, I don't know, I'm not sure if the Alliance has actually done anything with the Crusade so far, because, of course, we're, well, I mean, technically the Southern Empire is already at war against the Crusade. So, an Alliance, I'm not sure that really makes any difference, because they're kind of just, you know, they're already attacking them, so it's a bit strange. But, well, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see as time goes on, because maybe it would be a nice idea for us to make an army with someone else, make an army with another faction, so we can fully test out these new diplomacy, you know, features, because I'd like to make sure that that actually has an impact. Because there are many times in the past, there have been many times actually in the past, where we have had a situation where some people have requested some kind of, you know, diplomatic benefit, and it's not really done much, you know? It's not really done much. Like, for example, I don't know, non-aggression pact, or, I don't know, I mean, there's not really much in the base game, to be honest, so I can't really talk about that, but, you know, generally, whenever we've had situations like that, it's always been a little bit lackluster, a little bit sad, you know? So kind of hoping that we're going to be getting something a little bit better here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to make an alliance with the Azerai. I know, maybe they're not going to be too pleased with me right now, but maybe it's going to be okay. As you can see, we do have this guy. I'm going to let him go once again. I want to try to get as much relation with as many people as possible. I don't really want to capture a huge amount of his troops, but I will take the nobles. Do we want anything else? Yeah, the Imperial Heavy Horsemen, I suppose, as well. Yeah. The really frustrating thing, actually, is that I did not level up leadership. That is something that I feel like I should have leveled up by now. And something that I think I made a mistake on. And it's actually quite funny, because many times I've thought to myself, yeah, leadership would actually be pretty nice here. And it's one of those, funny perk trees where you just kind of go, yeah, do I really need it? Do I really need leadership? Yeah, actually you do need leadership. It is very good. It is a very good perk tree. There are a lot of extremely useful benefits from, you know, doing it. And yeah, unfortunately we're capped out massively here, so it would be exceptional if we could get Stout Defender at the very least. All we need to do is just level up one more time. But as I said to you before, we're kind of going for engineering, aren't we? Yeah, we're kind of going for engineering. So what we technically need to do is we need to level up twice, right? So we need to level up one time to get a point in leadership, and then another time to continue leveling up engineering. Obviously, we also have throwing skill that would be nice to level up, but I highly doubt, annoyingly enough, to be honest, because I actually really enjoy throwing skill, but I highly doubt we're actually going to be able to get another point in this, just purely because we're going to have to focus on other things. We will have to spec into leadership, just purely because I would like to get Stout Defender. There is obviously another thing later on here, which I think makes a big difference. This one, loyalty and honor plus 30% faster non-bandit prisoner recruitment. I mean, that's pretty crazy. And then you also have trusted commander and lead by example, which provides you additional recruitment rate for prisoners. So in other words, you would have, what, 80% just from Stout Defender and loyalty and honor, and then you would literally have another 50%. So you'd have 130%, basically. You'd have 130% increase for specific prisoners. Obviously, it has to have to be tier 4 and above, have to be ranged or infantry, dependent on which one you choose, obviously, and it's exceptional. You know, that perk combination is amazing and actually makes a huge difference. It's actually staggering how much of a difference it makes. Anyway, what I'm going to attempt to do here is I will try to take on Pharaon's army. It's going to be very... Yeah. Both my parties got taken prisoner. Alright, so it looks as though we're going to have to go in here just now because the castle is going to get taken otherwise. And hopefully I'm not too late. No, there we go. Okay, whew, that was a little bit close. I don't exactly know when the AI is capable of an instant capture, because there are obviously times where they're doing a siege and you think you've got a lot more time than you actually do to stop them, but then they just go boom and they've just taken it. So yeah, we have to be a little bit more on the ball than we would otherwise think. Hopefully this is going to be okay. Oh dear. Yeah. Might be a bit dicey. Not sure if we can even do this, but let's try it, shall we? Okay, so I have a much more balanced army than I've had in quite some time. As you can see right here, we actually have a bunch of infantry. I mean, I'm just going to move them so you can actually see that we don't only have 4. We have 47, actually. Well, 48, technically. And, yeah, we obviously have loads of cavalry, too, which is extremely nice. So, yeah, there are the enemy. All right, they're over there. And, well... the question is, are they going to be super hyper aggressive against us? Well, the question is yes, hopefully. Hopefully they will. Hopefully they will be. If they are not, then we will have to obviously do something. We'll have to move over there, and it will be very uncomfortable, and we will not be very pleased. But we will try it out. Okay, so something like this. Cavalry can go over there. Infantry maybe somewhere over here or something like that. I don't know. Basically, I'm just trying to get my forces into a position where they can actually do something. And it does seem as though... Whoa, who's this guy? He's literally charging at us without a shield. Who is that? He's going to die very, very quickly, I think. Or is he? He's actually remarkably surviving. I don't know how, but yeah, he's surviving very, very nicely. Let's put our infantry into a shield wall formation. And let's tell our cavalry to charge in. That is going to be very, very nice indeed. And if I can... Whoa, that was a chamber block right there. Very, very nice. Whoever did that. There we go. Just run along the line and try to damage as many of them as possible. Thank you very much. And we will try to do the same to the infantry. Oh, yes, that's never going to happen. Yes, try to do the same to the infantry and, well, try and fail, of course. Try and fail. All right. Yeah, well, so far so good. My infantry are doing a relatively decent job. And my archers are, of course, murdering the enemy's cavalry, which are, well, they do need to be dealt with, of course. But it would be better if they would attack the infantry. But obviously, they mostly have shields up at the moment, don't they? So it's probably a good idea that we focus on different things. And so far, everything seems to actually be very... very rosy looking right now. We're not really having too many issues. Kind of weirded out by that, but I guess, you know what, this is what happens when you have a slightly more balanced army, I guess, right? Because we actually have, we actually have people that can, support our various maneuvers much, much better than we did beforehand. Because, of course, before we just had, primarily, archers, pretty much. Just had only archers, and well, it showed because we were literally either murdering them before they got to us, or we were losing many people in the process. Well, I wouldn't say many people, because as I said to you beforehand in a previous episode, Britannian Fian champions, they are actually very good when it comes to melee combat. For an archer based unit, yeah, they are very, very good because they do have that nice sword, which does work in a variety of situations. In comparison to a lot of the other archers, which may not even have shields, that's the whole point. Like, yeah, sure, the Britannians don't have shields either, or at the very least the Fian champions don't. And they are still very, very good in melee. But I'm mostly talking about the Palatine guards. They generally as far as I remember at least, they generally don't have shields. Because they have double quiver, and I think they have one-handed. And one-handed is okay, don't get me wrong, but obviously it doesn't really do as much damage as a two-handed would in that situation. And obviously they don't really have any armor penetration either, because obviously there are a number of archers that have been equipped with things like maces. And they obviously do massive damage because maces have a high penetration value, and they are generally considered to be very good in close quarters combat too, which is where, yeah, you guessed it, archers are generally going to be if they're in melee. So, you know, it is kind of nice to go with that. But yeah, look at that. Look at that. This is insane. The fact we were able to achieve victory here against an well, all intents and purposes, well, I guess they were slightly injured, you know, because they were doing battle at the castle. I suppose it makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, we're just going to be letting them go, as I said before, basically letting every single one go, because I do want to try to get charm skill up, obviously, but the main priority here is to try to get as much basically as much relation with them as possible, so that we can, in the future, try to persuade them to join us, and hopefully they'll like us more than they like, you know, their current liege. That is the goal at the very least. Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna do that. Decent helm for us. Brynja can also wear our old helm, technically. Yeah, it gives her 1 extra, which is hilarious. Not very useful. Ah, very nice. Cataphract barding. That is going to be helpful for our wonderful horse here. And we are basically, you know what? Okay, fine. I will donate the experience here. Usually I'm not I don't know, I'm not a terribly big fan of doing that generally, but I think in this case it's probably going to be worth it. Don't need the food. So I'm going to be leaving the food for now. Let's see how many level ups we actually... Oh, no, okay, fine. It was actually kind of worth it. We did get 16 level ups, which is pretty decent. And now we can have a look and actually see what's happening over here, because we do have another vassal that is attempting to raid this village. There we go. Okay. Xena. Okay. Yeah, she was not disorganized from that raid. Knowing your reputation as a trader, 2 merchants in Hussenfolk are asking you to arbitrate a dispute between them. The 2 had drawn up a contract wherein each partner had a half share in an incoming shipment of wine. When it arrived, however, the sea captain demanded twice the price. The wealthier of the 2 partners was at the docks. He took the initiative and purchased the goods, deciding to take a loss for the sake of his reputation as a reliable supplier to the local taverns. But the second is poorer and wants out of the deal. Alright, so the letter of the contract would favor their wealthier partner. Merchants should be careful what they sign. We can get 50 influence for that. Never mind the letter of the contract. The reasonable, decent move for the richer merchant would have been to consult with his partner. And then we also gain 50 influence for that. And then we have, tell them that the whole thing gives you a headache. Nothing happens. Alright. And let the wealthier merchant know that your decision is for sale. You can get 1,000 gold. Okay. Right, so 50 influence. That's probably what I'll take. And we'll most likely... I think the decent move for the richer merchant would have been to consult with his partner. Generally, I actually think that. Because, let's face it, you're in a business, you know, business deal, business contract, partnership, whatever you want to call it, with another person. And, well, there is a certain level of trust that you should probably have in that sense. And so, I'm not sure why my reputation would increase with being devious in this regard. But, yeah. He should have consulted, in my opinion. But, obviously... very much depends how you feel about it. If you want to be cutthroat about it, then you can obviously choose something different. But yeah, we're just going to take that. And yeah, alright. So this is what we got. We actually got to 175 in medicine because I've been doing some auto-resolves against some people. And, well, let's see what we get here. Perfect health is probably one I'm going to be taking. Generally, I always appreciate that. Even though it is just 5% recovery rate, it can actually be quite useful. So that's what we'll do here. And then we also have... roads, and paths being created right now as we just completed the marketplace, and that's obviously going to increase the caravan visit rate. Technically, it would probably be a good idea for us to get a warehouse. You know what? Let's get the warehouse. Yeah, let's get the warehouse. I feel like that's probably... I don't know, it's going to take 11 days, but I think that's probably worth it. It feels worth it to me because we are currently losing food here, and it'd probably be a good idea to sort of try to offset that to a certain degree. Vasilia is coming. Oh, okay, double army, interesting. All right, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to literally besiege Danustica right now. Ah, here they come. Alright, so this is obviously what we kind of wanted, but we're going to have to be a little bit nefarious about this. I can't really... Oh dear. Yeah, well, that's not really what I wanted, to be honest, but okay. Yeah, so they have 700. This might be a bit problematic, but I'm kind of hoping that because we have had such good success in the past, especially... Ooh... Oh, this is great. Especially against the Southern Empire, where we've not really had too many problems with dealing with them. However, look at what we got here. Okay, this is a great battlefield. Absolutely amazing battlefield. Unfortunately, we are in a situation now where it's very, they're very close. Let's just say that. They're very, very close to the river. So this is going to be a bit dicey. Yeah. Not sure if my archers can get over here in time. Can they actually get over here in time? If they do, then we're going to be in a great position. If they don't, this is going to be bad. I could try to distract them, I guess. We could try to distract these guys. If I take some damage, then that's just how it's going to have to be. But let's try to be a bit evasive while we're doing that. My archers are now, I believe, in position. They might actually be in position, which would be pretty incredible. Ooh, okay. I was kind of hoping the auto-delegate would give us a skirmish, but unfortunately it's not. So my Battanians will have to enter melee, and we might have a bit of a problem here. I'm not sure how many we've killed so far. Only about 200. That's actually not even bad. That is pretty decent, but I'm not sure if the enemy just has too many people for us to deal with. Oh, actually, never mind. Actually, it's working. Actually, it's doing pretty nicely. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, no, we're just gonna tell our people to kind of hold position back here now. How many people have we lost so far? We've lost... Actually, not that many. We've lost a lot of cavalry, which is not exactly great, but I can't really help that. Alright, we've still got arrows. That's all that matters. We still have arrows. That is all I can really be very thankful for right now. I should try to stay alive if I can. It would be exceptional if we could do that. That would be amazing. Maybe... Can I actually force them into a retreat right now? Do you think I can actually force them into a retreat? Maybe. Maybe. Let's put them into auto-delegate once again, the archers. Let's see what they decide to do. Seems like they're not changing my order right now, which is good. Let's tell the cavalry to charge, tell the infantry to charge, even though I don't actually have any I don't actually have any infantry, so me telling them is basically pointless. And it looks to me like this is looking like a retreat. I think this looks like a retreat from their side. And it might very well be. Let's just try to get as much two-handed skill as I can. That is actually going to make a huge difference to us in the long run. If we can get maybe 275 in riding and 250 in two-handed, that's going to enable us to get both final perks for their respective trees. That would be pretty amazing. Let's tell our archers to charge. I'm going to try to push home the advantage here, if we can. Is that one of mine? Yeah, that's one of mine. Okay. I get mixed up a little bit with the, you know, when we're using the same kind of units. These guys? Whoa, okay, yeah, that's actually a significant amount of people. I really, you know, it would be so nice if we had an ammunition counter or something like that, but obviously that's extremely unrealistic. I mean, I guess it depends on what you personally prefer in that case, but it would be so nice to know how many arrows we have left. But I'm going to assume we've got basically not many. Oh no, they're running! Yes, there we go. We actually forced them into a retreat. Kind of sad. Oh, wait. Let me see. Maybe I can get some kills here. There we go. Nice. Get some. Yes, there we go. Get some experience here. Wow, that was a proverbial clown car of experience just walking by us right there. All right, so there you go. There's the victory. Wow, we literally won against such an insane amount of people just purely because we were able to force them into a retreat. That was the victory here. We forced them into a retreat because we were able to thwart their first waves. That was the key to our victory there. All right, so the question is, I guess we're just going to be letting them go, right? Yeah, we're just going to be letting them go for the most part. I'd like to get as much charm skill as possible. And yeah, this is, I know, this is going to make it more difficult for us to achieve victory on the whole with the Southern Empire. Of course, yes, absolutely. It is going to make it more difficult because we are letting them go, they're coming back, and so on and so forth, you know, over and over again. They are making things difficult for us. However, it's playing the end game more than playing right now. You know what I mean? We don't really want to focus too much on the short term. We want to focus much more on what is going to happen in the future and what's going to happen later down the line. It's really going to make a huge difference. You'll see. I hope it's going to make a big difference, at least. It has in the past where we've done things like this. So I can only hope that we're kind of, you know, in a similar boat here. All right, so the question is, do I have a herding problem? No, I do not. Now I have a herding problem. Okay. So let's get rid of some of these. Still a herding problem. Okay. I mean, some horses, that's not really going to make any difference, is it? No. Okay, yeah. So what about the food situation? Well, food situation is not really going to do too much for us here. Yep, that's fine. Okay, 18,000 experience. Very, very nice. And that's going to enable 10 of our people to level up. Yeah, only 10? Kind of not too pleased about that, but that's okay. We don't have to worry about that too much. Now, this is what's really, really great. What we can do now is I'm actually going to go back to Hussenvolk, and what we're going to do is we are going to place a couple of people, a couple of prisoners and things like that in there, and we're just going to make sure that we don't have, shall we say, a situation where we're just running around with all these prisoners. It's taking so long to convert these guys as well, by the way. It's taking a long time to convert these. So what I'm actually going to do is we're just going to have the most important ones in our party here. We're just going to try to maintain about 50 prisoners. Obviously, it's going to take a long time to, you know, convert these because I don't have any points in leadership. Well, now I do. Now I have a point in leadership. Thanks very much. Okay, so let's have a look. What do we have here? So we have Blade Master and we have Vandal. Generally, I would say that Vandal is probably better because you're most likely, if you're having some problems, you know, killing enemies, it's most likely going to be higher tier units. And generally, higher tier units have, you guessed it, they have armor. So you want to penetrate that armor as deeply as possible. So yeah, that's obviously going to be great. Now we could go into the trade screen here as well. Let's just see. We barely have anything that I can actually sell here. 41,000 only, which is very sad. Yeah, so I am running around overburdened right now, which is actually awful. Yeah, you can see here my militia in Tamna Castle has restored itself. So technically, what we could do is we could go over there and attack the army that is attacking the castle. I highly doubt they're going to be starting the siege that fast. So if we can make it over there, we are going to have a great time. At least it should be, right? Should be a great time. So let's have a look. Okay, yes, they are literally not doing it. They are literally not doing it right now. So this is hilarious because as soon as they start the siege, they're going to lose about, I don't know, they're probably going to lose about 100 people, I'm going to assume. Right, let's have a look. Yeah. As you can see, they are losing about 100 people, maybe even more than that. Yes, they are definitely losing more than that. Okay, so now we can make our way in straight away. Look at my leadership, by the way. My leadership is already leveling up. It's so crazy how the skills, when they're very low level, it's so crazy how they level up so quickly. And then when they get to a much higher level, it takes so long. It's actually crazy. All right, so otherwise, let's just make sure that we have our people in a loose formation here. We can put these guys over here, and we're just going to speed things up a little bit because these guys are going to come to us. Oh, yes, they are. They are very eager to go to their deaths by the looks of things, which is perfect. That is very nice. Okay, so the question is, what do we want to do? Well, I'm basically just going to leave my archers here. As you can see, they're actually doing a fantastic job. And let's send our cavalry to auto-delegate. I want to see what they actually decide to do here by themselves. And that looks to be about it, don't you think? Yeah, that looks to be about it. So we're pretty much done. They're going to be retreating. Yep, there it is. There's the retreat. And that is our victory once again. We're literally just winning because they are failing the first siege. First siege? No, first charge. That's what's going on here. Technically, they are failing the first siege as well that they're doing. But yeah. Anyway, we're just going to let them go once more. We want to try to generate as much relation with them as possible. Let's take the Imperial Elite Cataphracts, take these guys. Basically, I'm just taking the noble units right now, even though it would be absolutely fantastic to capture the other ones as well. But I just don't have the ability to convert them yet. You know, the speed of my conversion is extremely slow in comparison to what you'd need to actually be effective here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our way over to the nearby town of Razich, and we are going to attempt to sell. Yes, because I have so much loot that I would like to get rid of that stuff. Also, let's try to make an alliance with the Aserai. It doesn't... Aserai is not ready for an alliance. Why are they not ready for an alliance? Is it because we just don't have enough reputation with them? Is that the reason? Maybe? Aserai will not agree to a trade agreement. Oh, okay. So I'm going to assume there's something that needs to be done to actually have that, you know, be eligible for it. I don't actually know. And that's actually something that I'd like to see, but I highly doubt that that's even going to be thought of at the time. But basically, I would love to see where you could check what the prerequisites are, because, well, what is it otherwise? I guess relation, right? It's probably going to be relation of some kind, so having relation with the leader of the faction is probably going to make a bit of difference. But yeah, here we go. Stout Defender. Absolutely fantastic. We already got to 53 leadership, by the way. You see how fast that was? That's actually crazy. And indeed, look at what we can do after that. I would like to get loyalty and honor too, which is 100 skill, but I don't think... I'm not sure if we're even going to be able to do that. It's probably not going to be possible, but I guess we could try it out. Alright, so we've also just gained 200 skill points in Charm skill. Now, I've actually just realized something. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get Immortal Charm here, but all intents and purposes, it's not really going to make that much difference. I've commented on this in the past, and generally, I do think that a number of the late game perks, as in, I'm talking about Immortal Charm, for instance, and the trade perk, and, you know, a number of others, they do need a bit of a rework, bit of a tweaking. Doesn't really need a significant amount done to them, really. You know, you just need a little bit of an extra boost to incentivize someone going for this. Because look at my influence right now, right? Look at my influence right now. I have 816. And have you seen me doing anything really that, you know, that crazy or insane? Well, maybe some things. Okay, you know, going into a battle against 700 people. All right, yeah, maybe that's kind of cool. But the thing is, we haven't really been doing anything out of the ordinary to get that influence. You can see here, most of the time I'm just earning 7 influence every single day, thanks to our policies, thanks to, you know, being the leader of a faction, so on and so forth. Now, if you think about it, this is 7 influence. And if you think about Immortal Charm, that's 5. So basically you're saying that I should invest 7 points of attribute, right? 7 attribute points in social, and then another 5 focus points in charm skill just to get 5 influence per day when I'm already swimming in influence when I have 816. I have 816 influence. That is more than enough for me to do whatever I want to do. I do not need any more than that most of the time. So it's a bit weird. I think that's a bit weird. So I'm not sure. For me personally, I feel like it should be reworked, retweaked, something like that, because it's just not worth it right now. You know, getting a significant amount of, well, a significant amount of influence is not difficult to do. It just takes a little bit of extra time. And eventually you're going to have more than you know what to do with, you know? So it is actually going to be extremely, extremely impactful. We should probably be getting noble retinues, because this is actually going to be extremely good once we get tier 5. So I will just enact that right now. And we also have tier 3 plus clans gain 0.5 influence and the influence cost of etc, etc. This has no downside. This has really no downside. The influence cost of inviting clans is increased by 10%. Who cares? 10%? No one cares about 10%, right? So that's actually going to be extremely good. Could also take road tolls. Road tolls are actually not bad, because town prosperity being decreased by 0.2. 0.2 is such a minuscule value in comparison to the trade tax paid to the town owner. 3%. I feel like that's actually kind of good. So we will go for that. I could potentially go for grazing rights too, but I personally don't really like it because it does reduce village hearth growth rate. as far as I'm aware, village hearth production, which I'm really not a big fan of. I'd like to try to increase that as much as possible rather than decrease it. And I'm looking at everything else here and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, there's probably not much more that we really want to go for. I guess we could go for serfdom. Serfdom is pretty good too, so let's do that. And of course, we could go for feudal inheritance. Do we not already have that? Yeah, we do. Okay, so me enacting it, not going to make any difference. Okay, so we obviously have that, and I've taken a bit of a look at this as well. I was actually kind of thinking that trial by jury would actually be really, really useful. So I'm thinking, you know what, let's actually enact that for now, but trial by jury is something that we should probably remove a little bit later on. And the main reason why I want to enact it right now is so that we can continue to gain loyalty. You can see here, obviously, at the moment, hunting rights is reducing it a little bit, but we do have trial by jury increasing that by 0.3. So basically, we are now gaining the 0.3 that we have from trial by jury. Otherwise, we would be at a dead stop. So this is extremely useful. We also have our warehouse level 3 almost being done. And indeed, we have another castle here that I personally think we can probably capture relatively simply. So we're probably going to be going in there in just a moment. However, that is going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.